What if I told you a new series of internet laws could change the way you speak online, and that these laws are a direct threat to our freedoms? There's a wave of internet bills moving through Congress right now that most people aren't even talking about. These aren't just minor tweaks. These are bipartisan efforts that could fundamentally change how your privacy, speech, and anonymity work online. And that's why we need to talk about this. If you're new here, I'm Kim, and this is Kim's Breaking Point. Here we talk about things happening in our world and in our policies that actually affect your day-to-day life, even when they're not getting so much attention. Right now, multiple internet bills are being pushed at this time. Not one, not two, a whole slate of them. Together, they would give governments and platforms more control over what you can see, say, and share online, all under the label of safety. I came across a website called badinternetbills.com, and it lays all this out clearly in one place. It breaks down each bill, what it actually does, and why digital rights advocates are raising serious concerns. Today, I want to talk to you about the most important ones, starting with the biggest threats, and briefly cover the rest so you understand the full picture. So if you scroll down on the page, you'll find something called the KOSA Act. And KOSA stands for the Kids Safety Online Act. On paper, this bill claims to be protecting kids. And of course, protecting kids matter. But the problem is how this bill tries to do that. KOSA pressures platforms to aggressively restrict content that could be considered harmful to minors. That means platforms over-censoring to protect themselves from liability. That puts real life-saving information at risk. Mental health resources, LGBTQ plus content, support communities, and education materials that young people rely on. Instead of regulating abusive tech companies, this bill ends up regulating free speech. And historically, when speech gets restricted in the name of safety, marginalized voices are the first to disappear. Next is the SCREEN Act. This bill focuses heavily on age verification and parental controls. But here's the part people miss. Age verification almost always turns into ID verification. That means tying your identity to your online activity. Anonymity isn't about doing bad things. It's about safety. Survivors of abuse, whistleblowers, activists, and young people trying to figure out who they are rely on privacy to exist safely online. The SCREEN Act moves us closer to an intent where anonymity is the exception and surveillance is the default. But before we keep going, let's lighten things up for just a sec. This t-shirt I'm wearing, Peace Requires Justice, is part of my new merch line over at kimabor.com. And these are the most comfy t-shirts for staying loud and staying informed. Perfect for swirling the chaos, politicians from your couch, or just looking good while being the badass adult you are. And if you're a TikToker, don't worry, the shop is over there too. I even have some exclusives that are only found on the TikTok shop. All links are right down below this video just for you to check out. And the best part, every purchase helps me to keep making videos that cut through all of the noise and actually tell the real stories. So treat yourself, look good, and support the work at the same time. It's a win-win. Next up, the Takedown Act. The Takedown Act is often presented as a way to remove harmful content quickly, but the concern is how broadly it's written. This bill pushes platforms to remove content fast, often without clear restrictions or strong protections. That encourages platforms to take down content first and ask questions later. And we've already seen this happen. TikTok is highly scrutinized and overcautious about what we can share. Most activists already know that there are words and phrases or topics that trigger shadow bans or removals. If this law passes, that problem gets even worse, not better. And here's the part that people really need to think about. Trump himself has already signaled how laws like this could be used against people who oppose him. That exposes the flaw in this approach. When you give the government power to decide what speech gets taken down, that power never stays neutral. Next is the Earn It Act. The Earn It Act claims it's about stopping child exploitation online, something we should all agree is very important. But the way it approaches this goal is dangerous. Earn It threatens end-to-end encryption, which is what keeps private messages private. Encryption protects journalists, abuse survivors, activists, and everyday people. Weakening it doesn't just target criminals. It puts everyone at risk. Once encryption is compromised, privacy doesn't come back. Online ID checks. Online ID check proposals tie all of this together. These would require people to prove who they are just to access certain platforms or content. That creates massive databases of personal information. And we already know how data gets sold, leaked, and abused. These laws disproportionately harm trans people, undocumented people, abuse survivors, and anyone who needs privacy to stay safe. This isn't about safety, it's about control. There are even more bills that we need to be aware of. Changes to Section 230 could push platforms to censor aggressively to avoid lawsuits. Age-gating bills lead right back to ID verification and surveillance. And SOP CSAM proposals often expand monitoring without addressing the root cause or protecting privacy. This isn't hypothetical. We've already seen countries like Australia pass new age-based internet restrictions. Once these restrictions are built, they spread, and they rarely get rolled back. And here's the thing. Even people who hate me benefit from online privacy. Yes, even my haters who hide behind fake profiles and bot accounts are protected by the same freedoms these bills would weaken. If these laws pass, that anonymity disappears. So yes, this affects everyone who uses the internet in any way, shape, or form. If you want to learn more or how to take action, go to badinternetbills.com. You could read detailed breakdowns, sign petitions, and find ways to contact your lawmaker. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think these internet bills are actually about safety? Or do you think that they give the government too much control over what we're allowed to say and see online? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. I read every single one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.